Welcome to another video from Demystifying Proposals. Today we're going to talk about writing proposals based on contract type, how to adjust contract type in proposals. So a little bit of a pause here. One of the things that we always say when we're talking about proposals is that people need to remember that proposals are scored. They're not read. And what we mean by that is that the government has its evaluation criteria, the government has its strengths and weaknesses criteria, and that's what they're going to use to score your proposal. They're not going to say this proposal reads the best and they're going to be convinced by that. They're going to use their score sheets. So that's what we mean by proposals are scored and not read. So a good proposal is laid out in the same order as the proposal instructions and incorporates the evaluation criteria from section M. If there are elements in L that aren't in M, they still have to be included. If there are elements in M that are not in L, they have to be added. And then you need to address all the tasks in the statement of work or the performance work statement. And this can be particularly challenging if your proposal is so page limited that the number of pages they've actually given you to respond to the technical approach is less than the number of pages that the statement of work or the performance work statement takes up in the RFP. I'd like to say that that doesn't happen very often, but in reality, it does. So one of the big things that you're going to have to figure out is how you're going to write to all of the tasks in fewer pages than the government wrote to all of the tasks. It's fun. And then the last thing and the most important thing you need to do, because it's what makes your proposal responsive and compelling, is what are the benefits of your solutions features? What are your win themes and discriminators? And do they come through in your writing? In this section, we're going to talk about the technical approach. We're going to cover the basics of how you write a technical approach, but also how you need to tailor a technical approach depending on your contract type. Basic outline of a technical approach is understanding, approach, and proof points. In the understanding section, you'll talk about what the customer is asking for and why. What do we know about this particular procurement? Why are they doing it? What are they trying to solve? All of those kinds of things go into understanding. Approach is what are you going to do for the customer and how? And this is primarily where the changes based on contract type will take place. Proof points are where have you done this kind of work before? How can they know that you know what you're doing? Don't forget to include graphics. That can be technical diagrams and process flows, other things like that that tell the story of your proposal. So the understanding section usually reflects responsiveness. That's the term that we generally use in proposal management for how you should write to the understanding part of the technical approach. Why is the customer asking for this work? What problems are they trying to solve? What are the customer's hot buttons? And can you tie your solution to their vision and mission? These are known as soft requirements because they're often not actually asked for, but you definitely want to make sure that you address them nonetheless to show the customer that you understand what they need. Win themes may come from your understanding, especially if you have something unique to say. Think about using a call out box to emphasize a win theme. So your technical approach, the approach section, should be based on the statement of work or the performance work statement, which is usually section C of the RFP, to address the work that you're going to be asked to do for this customer and this project. For each task, you need to explain how you will do the work. And the easiest way to do that is to talk about step one, I'm going to do this. Step two, I'm going to do this. Step three is this. And then what is your methodology, tools, techniques, procedures, et cetera, to do that work? So in step one, you may use this tool. In step two, you may use a different tool. So think about all of those things as you're writing your technical approach. And we call this the hard requirements of the RFP. This is what the actual statement of work or the performance work statement is asking you to do. So they're hard requirements. You must address them. Usually you're bidding on an RFP that's similar to work that your company is already doing. So if that's the case, then you want to find or ask the proposal manager to find the proposal that is similar to the one that you're working on for work that was similar in nature. You want to find or ask the proposal manager to find the statement of work or program reporting for that similar work that details what you're proposing to do. Sometimes the program reporting will bring out a nugget or two that you may not have thought of how you want to do the work. So that's can be a very valuable tool. Find someone who's done this work before if you haven't. Other people in your company hopefully have done this work. Use these things to craft your approach to the new work. And remember, don't forget to edit those inputs to match the RFP and this customer. So when you're writing a technical approach for a firm fixed price contract, that firm fixed price contract is driven by deliverables. Companies usually get paid when they deliver a deliverable on time and well done. So the government will primarily use an FFP contract type when the scope of the contract is well defined. So your proposal's technical approach should explain how you will develop the required deliverables. So that step 1, step 2, step 3 should address the required deliverables and any interactions with the government personnel that are required to make those deliverables happen. Your proposal's technical approach should address how you will ensure the deliverables are of good quality. This should also be echoed in the management approach. Be sure to review not only Section C, the statement of work or the performance work statement, but also Section B for the CLIN structure and how you will be paid. You must ensure that your technical approach is mapped to the CLIN structure. The CLIN structure should reflect how the tasks and the deliverables in Section C are set up. If they're not, be sure to ask questions during the Q&A period of proposal development to try and get clarity on any difference between the CLIN structure, the tasks, and the deliverables. Cost plus contracts and time and materials contracts are usually more driven by the expertise of the personnel. This is because sometimes the scope hasn't been entirely defined yet, or how the work gets done may be more driven by the contractor than the government in those cases. So your proposal should explain how your staff's expertise will be used to meet those requirements, and your approach to the requirements will be more compelling if it's assigned to individuals, such as the program manager, the technical lead, and other subject matter experts. As you're writing your technical approach, which is often more typical of how we think of technical approaches in proposals, with a step 1 and a step 2 and a step 3, map those steps to who's in charge of that step, who's going to take responsibility. Is that the program manager? Is it a technical lead? Explain who is responsible as well as what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Be sure to review not only Section C, the statement of work or the PWS, but also Section B for the CLIN structure. While CLIN structure is really important for form fixed price contracts, you can't overlook it when you're talking about a cost plus or a T&M contract either, because there may be things there that you need to address. And like in firm fixed price contracts, there may be discrepancies between the CLIN structure, the tasks, and the deliverables, and you need to make sure that you're asking questions during the Q&A period so that you can get those addressed by the government before you do your proposal. Proof points are whatever you can say to support your understanding and approach and show the evaluators you know what you're talking about. So your proof points come from where you've done it before. What did you learn from your previous work? Did you get kudos from your customer? How does that solution and program match the approach you're bringing to this proposal? So if you've used a particular technology or a particular tool on a previous program, and that's part of what you're bringing to this particular proposal, maybe that's a discriminator for your company, you definitely need to talk about that from a proof points perspective and cite other examples of where you use that tool or that approach. That's what makes a proposal compelling. Your proof points are often found again as call-out boxes to draw attention to your great work. Proof points should reinforce your win themes and your discriminators. Graphics can be a great way to make your approach clear. There's a thing called an OV1 or an operational view that can show the evaluators the whole solution at a high level in one graphic. Then you may want to do systems views that show the technical solution at a systems level. If you're developing a particular technical approach, you can do a systems view and show your technical solution in one graphic. Process flows can also be used to show how information or data flows from one system to another. Remember, the way you present your OV1 or your SV1 may be different based on the contract type. If your approach is still driven by deliverables, that may look different than if your approach is driven by expertise. Now we're going to talk about management approach and how that might be different based on your contract type. The basic outline for a management section will depend on the RFP instructions, but usually includes program management, how you're going to manage the program, and staffing, who are you proposing to do the work and why are they the right people. Graphics are good for this section too. You may have organizational charts or process flows, so don't forget to think about graphics for your management section as well. The program management section of the proposal should explain how you will manage the work. Much like the technical approach, the management approach should include the steps you take to manage a program, especially if it's a complex one. Do you use PMBOK? Do you use CMMI? Do you use another management framework? Why? How has it worked for other customers? Again, proof points are important for the management approach, just like they're important for the technical approach. How have you done this work before and how has it been successful for other customers? Got to be in management, just like it was in technical. Do you have a quality assurance program? Do you have, if there's multiple teams on your that you're proposing, how will they be managed and who will manage them? Often there's a task in the statement of work that's called program management. This is not the same as how you manage your team. That section will be how you manage your team in relationship to the government's team. But the two sections have to reflect the same information and approach. So think about that as you're writing your program management section. Most companies have management approach sections that can be tailored for your proposal. They're sitting on a shelf somewhere and you can use that, but just make sure that you tailor it for your specific proposal. And one of the things to keep in mind as you're doing that is whether it's an FFP contract or a T&M or cost plus contract. Remember, your management approach should reflect the contract type found in section B of the RFP. So if the contract in section B, it says it's a firm fixed price contract, those, again, as we talked about in technical approach, are driven by deliverables. Again, companies usually get paid when they deliver the deliverable on time and well done. The government should primarily use FFP contracts when the scope of the contract is well defined. Again, this is the same information that we said at the technical approach section. So your proposal's management approach should explain how you will meet the deliverables schedule. Your proposal's management approach should address how you will ensure the deliverables are of good quality. Your proposal can include organizational charts and talk about personnel, but that aspect of the proposal is probably not as important as making sure that you're meeting the deliverable schedule. Be sure to address your program manager's experience or expertise with FFP contracts, assuming he or she has that experience. Your key personnel should be mentioned in relation to deliverables. Every deliverable should be mapped to a member of your team who is responsible for that deliverable, or vice versa. If you want to talk about the deliverables and then map them to the people, whichever way you want to do it, just so make sure that somebody has ownership of each deliverable. And make sure that the responsible person isn't always the program manager. Sometimes people have a tendency to just make the program managers in charge of all deliverables. Well, of course he is or she is, but somebody else should also be involved or taking responsibility for the deliverables. And then again, Be sure to review not only Section C, but also Section B and how you will be paid. I can't emphasize this enough. In Section B, in the CLIN structure, they will talk about how you will be paid, and you have to be sure that your cost volume and your management approach and your technical approach all reflect the CLIN structure and each other. As we talked about for technical approach, cost plus and T&M contracts are usually more driven by the expertise of the personnel. And the scope may not be entirely defined yet, or how the work gets done may be driven more by what you're proposing. It may not be driven by what the government is requiring. So your proposal's management approach should include organizational charts and talk about personnel. The key personnel should be mentioned in relation to their expertise in the subject matter. The key personnel should be mentioned in relation to the management of the other staff, task, deliverables, whatever makes sense for the particular RFP. Your proposal's management approach should explain how your staff's expertise will be used to meet the requirements of the statement of work or performance work statement. This may include addressing how you ensure quality of the deliverables. In the proposal's description of the program manager, be sure to address experience or expertise in managing the type of contract that's being proposed, whether that's cost plus or T&M. And just like with firm fixed price contracts, be sure to review the CLIN structure in Section B and be sure that your cost volume reflects their management approach and vice versa. Some additional notes when it comes to cost plus contracts. There's generally two kinds of cost plus contracts: cost plus fixed fee and cost plus award fee. Cost plus fixed fee means your company only gets that additional revenue, the fixed fee part of the contract type, if you meet certain requirements. Cost plus award fee means your company only gets that additional revenue if the work is done well and you have to document why you deserve your award fee. So think about that, because your proposal will probably be used as a yardstick for what you said you would do and when. And so think about that. Take that into account when you're writing your management approach. Most proposals, regardless of contract type, usually require you to name key personnel. The requirements for key personnel can be found in both Section C, the statement of work or the performance work statement, and Section H. So don't forget to look in Section H, which is special contract requirements. Make sure that your key personnel meet all of the requirements specified, and be sure their resumes reflect that information too. If you have any questions about that, we have other trainings on how to do resumes and how to make resumes compelling. Refer to that information. If you can't meet all of the requirements, then consider asking a question. But remember, questions get answered publicly, and you may not get the answer that you like. So it's better to have all your key personnel meet all of the requirements rather than trying to get a key personnel requirement changed. Most proposals require an explanation of proposed staffing. Like program management, your proposed staffing should reflect the contract type. If the RFP doesn't include hours for each labor category, you may have to explain why your staffing mix is what it is. So don't forget to revisit your staffing section after you've finished the proposal pricing, because things may have changed based on your price to win. In the case of cost plus and T&M contracts, your staffing will be even more important. So be sure to emphasize that you know where to find more staff or replacement staff if needed. Thank you for watching this video from Demystifying Proposals. We hope that it helped you understand a little bit more about how contract type can affect proposal writing. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and don't forget to follow our channel for more videos.